Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. But if I say Friday, don't get too excited. I am aware it's Thursday. It just kind of has a Friday feel to it. We do have a lot to get to. NFL Draft cranks up tonight. I'm going to get into that here in a second. I was out on the practice field at LSU just about a couple of hours ago, and I've got my final practice report up at LouisianaSports.net. We'll discuss what we saw. That's our last look at this team until they report for camp in August. Joe Healy is here in 30 minutes. He'll be talking SEC baseball with us. We'll talk to Matthew Paris from The Advocate. He's covering the Saints. He'll be down there at the Saints facility this evening as the Black and Gold picks 8. We're going to get into some of that. Chris Blair talking Tigers at 2:15. He is already up in Starkville, Mississippi. Before we get things started from a sports talk perspective, I want to discuss with y'all why we are here on the parade ground at LSU today. A very, very, very important cause. We're here for Team Kate today. Kate Hargett is an 11-year-old who back in 2025 was diagnosed with a rare mutation, and because of it is going to need a bone marrow transplant before it turns malignant. So we've got a swab event here on the parade ground. If you are between the ages of 18 and 35, you are eligible to come on by and swab. There are no pricks, no blood drawn here, just swabs to see if we can find a match for Kate. The Hargett family has done this at various campuses throughout the state of Mississippi and now down here in Louisiana, just looking for a match for 11-year-old Kate to try to save a life. If you're in the Baton Rouge area and you have a little time and you have it in your heart to come on by and get swabbed, if you're between the ages of 18 and 35, we would so very much appreciate doing that. Kate's been here. She was on the show earlier with the morning show guys. Her parents are here. Family, friends are here. We are here. We're just across the street. Shouldn't say street, the driveway from the LSU Student Union. I could hit it with a baseball if I crow hop right there at the Student Union. We're right here. Eagle 98.1 is set up. We are set up here. Talk 107.3 was here a little bit earlier. Matt's going to be doing his show AFR here until 6 o'clock. They've got Kona Ice set up for some snow cones. The Student Union's right there. We've got swag giveaway from all of our stations here. If you can stop by between the ages of 18 and 35 before 5 o'clock this afternoon and get swabbed, we would so very much appreciate it. As a parent of 2 kiddos myself now, like this even hits a little bit more home. So if you've got time and can come by to get a swab to try to help Kate, we certainly do appreciate that, and that is why we are here. A little bit later on, we'll talk to one of her parents and kind of get Kate's background, but that's why we're here at the parade ground on LSU, and so hopeful that we get great news from this event here this afternoon. All right, let's get to some sports talk here. The Saints are on the clock a little bit later on. We'll talk about that in our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
NFL Draft cranks up from Pittsburgh this evening, and it's always a very, very exciting time for those who are invested in the National Football League. We've spent a lot of time over the last year and a half, really since things went south in 2024, post that ridiculous 2-game run the Saints went on. When it went south and eventually Dennis Allen was fired and eventually they moved on from Derek Carr, we've been talking about the next great Saints team. When is it going to come? Well, we don't know. But there were some pieces to that puzzle that were, frankly, never going to be part of the next great Saints team. Marshawn Lattimore was not going to be part of the next great Saints team. Neither was Ryan Ramczyk. Derek Carr was not going to be part of the next great Saints team. We didn't feel Cam Jordan would be either. It was very unlikely DeMario Davis would be part of the next great Saints team. We knew that. It was the foundation of a different era, but we knew that there was a new era on the horizon. And with Kellen Moore came some hope, some excitement, with a draft pick, the highest pick at quarterback since Archie Manning, Tyler Shuck in the second round. You could see some direction, some hope. And then you saw the last month and change of the season, and it felt like things were moving in the right direction for New Orleans. Can't be sure of that, but it sure felt like it, right? And tonight, and over the next 3 days, a massive, massive, massive opportunity for New Orleans exists to help reshape the next great era of Saints football. Now, not to be pessimistic, but you can screw it up. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the opportunity to bring someone in that helps change the course of this franchise and usher it into the next great era beyond Sean Payton and Drew Brees. I've been talking a lot over the last 2 months about the confidence level that the fan base has in the current front office and coaching staff to get this right, to get this rebuild right. Because if you go back to October of 2025, that's not that long ago. It's 7 months. You go back 7 months, there was no confidence in anybody anywhere in New Orleans. I was certainly among that number that was like, there's nothing here to hang your hat on. Spencer Rattler is not getting it done because the offensive line stinks. You don't have weapons at wide receiver. Your running back's old. Your defense is aging even more. You're losing in convincing fashion to Seattle. You're not really that competitive with Buffalo. Getting run off your own field by a team we didn't think was all that great in New England. Like, it just didn't look good. And now you sit here and you think, well, is there some confidence in that group? Maybe so. And so I took the opportunity, and not that this was like unearthing massive unknown information, but I just looked back at the last 10 first-round picks because Mickey Loomis has been here for all of it. Some of this stuff is new. Shuck is new. Kellen Moore is new. Mickey Loomis ain't new. We know Mickey Loomis's track record. And I wrote it down today. I'm looking at his last 10 first-round picks. I'm going to give an incomplete grade to the last two. I have significant reason to believe Kelvin Banks at number 9 is going to be a good player from last year's first round. I liked the way he played as a rookie left tackle. Is he an all-pro? I don't know. Is he a Pro Bowler? I don't know. Is he an above-average player? I'm not sure. Is he a bust? I don't think so. But that's an incomplete grade. I think we can agree on that. And I'm even going to give Taliese Fuaga an incomplete grade because you took a college right tackle, moved him as a left tackle as a rookie, and then moved him back to right tackle as a second-year player, and he got hurt. So, I think Taliese Fuaga's got a good future with the Saints. I think that's an option they're going to pick up when that opportunity presents itself. But it's an incomplete grade right now. The other 8 feel like we have a good idea, or we certainly know if they were good, okay, or bad. Brian Brzee has been underwhelming. He was the 29th pick in the draft. He's a rotational piece on your defensive front with a pass rush skill set and a weakness against the run game that you've had to bring him on and off the field more than you probably would have liked a first-round pick. But that's an okay grade. Olave's a hit at 11. Penning's a bust at 19. Peyton Turner, bust at 28. Cesar Ruiz, he's a below-average league player at this point, who was the 24th overall pick. Marcus Davenport, bust. And then the 2 and 17, Lattimore and Ramczyk, were hits. But if you're going to take Lattimore and Ramczyk, who were 2017 first-rounders, and move them off this ledger because one's retired and the other one is beyond his prime in a big way, you have to go Banks, Fuaga, Brzee, Olave, Penning, Turner, Ruiz, Davenport. 8 picks, and only one of them you're certain nailed. Olave, good player. Good player. He's not an all-pro. He's a good player. He's an 1,000-yard receiver, not just once in a fluke year, not just accumulating on an awful team. He's been a productive player. He was a good pick. And I think Banks and Fuaga may end up being good picks. So it's interesting how you can take this information And I can frame it as only one of your last 8 first-rounders is a surefire hit. That's a bad feeling. I could also suggest that your last 4 first-rounders, well, I shouldn't say that because Olave was before Penning. 4 of your last 5 first-rounders might be hits. Banks might be a hit. Fuaga might be a hit. Brzez's okay. Olave is good. How do you want to frame that? That's up to you. It's in the eye of the beholder. Ireland, Loomis, do they deserve a lot of credit? I don't know. But their picks last year were good, and the fact of the matter is that of all those 10 first-round picks I gave you right there, all 10 of them, not one of them was as high as the pick tonight, 8th overall. The highest was Banks at 9. Beyond that, you had Olave and Lattimore at 11. But 8 is as high as you've picked, and hopefully that's as high as you picked for a while. What they do at 8 tonight has to be a hit. It must be a hit. It must be. At this state in your organization, the next 3 days have to produce 3 high-level starters. That's not too much to ask. I asked for 4 last year. I think you're on your way to that. I need 3 this year, and certainly at 8, it's got to be done. Back on Monday's show, we gave you my top 5. That started with Bain, and then it had Delane, and then it had Downs. You had Jordan Tyson. You had Carnell Tate. Yesterday, I told you Tate was my projection, though Bain is probably tops on my list. I feel great about Downs. I feel great about Delane. I feel really good about Jordan Tyson. I'm in the minority on that because of the injury history, I know. But no one is paying me to scout football players. I'm going to give you my opinion on the pick tomorrow after they make it. But no one is paying me to scout football players. What I'm telling you is the front office has to get this right. It is vital to the next era of Saints players because this first-round pick that you take tonight is under your control for 5 seasons at a very, very affordable price. That 5-year window is Tyler Shuck's prime. And you get this guy at a discount if he's a great player. This cannot be Marcus Davenport. It cannot be Peyton Turner. It cannot be Trevor Penning. It has to be Marshawn Lattimore. It has to be Chris Olave. It has to be Ryan Ramczyk. It has to be. The first round of the draft is the greatest place to transform your organization. It's not in free agency where guys are older and overpriced. It's the first and second rounds of the draft. Tonight, you get a pick at 8 overall you must hit on. Everyone will have their opinions, and I think the consensus that I have heard is that it would be very, very difficult for the Saints to do something egregious in that spot tonight. We won't know whether or not they hit for some time. It might take a year and a half. But we know today, as I sit here, the importance of that selection. Your confidence level in this front office is your confidence level in this front office. That won't change the fact they got work to do tonight, and I think we're all hopeful that it is a Pro Bowl piece to the next really good Saints football team. It's exciting stuff. Because guess what? Nobody loses a game tonight. It's the beauty of the offseason. It's training camp. In the college ranks, it's fall camp. It's optimism season. Tonight gives you optimism. I can't wait to see what the Saints do. Kind of giving you my impression on that. We'll talk to Matthew Paris coming up at 2 o'clock. He's with The Advocate, and we'll give us his thoughts on what Mickey Loomis said yesterday to the media and what we can expect to see tonight from the Black and Gold. That's our opening drive, brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet GMC. We will take a timeout. When we come back, what did I see on the practice field today from LSU football? I've got some thoughts, some things, especially wide receiver and corner, that I really enjoyed. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust is the website. That's not the website. The website's FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust is a local bank, 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. It's your local bank. And what does that mean? Well, the people that work at First American Bank and Trust, management at their branches averages 20 years with the bank. It's a community feel. The people that you walk in and deal with at First American Bank and Trust, you see them at church. The people that you deal with at First American Bank and Trust, their kids go to school with your kids. And the people that make the decisions on their commercial loans at First American Bank and Trust are local. Your business dollars come from local. It's not decisions that are made because you're a line item from some manager or CEO in Seattle or Atlanta. Nope. First American Bank and Trust, 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. Bank local. Looking for that house of your dream? Need financing? First American Bank and Trust. Check them out online, FABT.com, FABT.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Our Thursday shows every single week brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Y'all, the spring is here. The summer will be here before you know it. To me, that's grilling season. You're out by the pool. You're out in the backyard. You get the grill fired up, and you want a good product on the grill. You don't want some garbage. Get some prime Angus beef. Sagrera Farms, some of the best beef in the country, right up the road in Ethel, Louisiana. Every single bit of it is prime, and it's not an accident. It's a labor of love that Sean has really perfected. Genetically mating superior premium cattle, and it produces a consistent, incredible result. You're talking about some of the best beef in terms of intermuscular fat score. Look at Select. That's 1 to 3 on the scale. That's the bottom of the barrel. Choice, 60% of the beef out there, 3 to 8 on the scale. 9+ is prime. Sean's got cows on his farm right now, 14, 16, 19, 20. Do it better. At the Palmer House, we've got Sagrera Farms in the freezer. When it's time to go put some burgers on the grill, we take it out of the freezer, thaw it out, bam, makes the best burgers I've ever made at home. My wife will attest to that. She talked to Sean when we were headed up at Christmas, stopped by to get some beef from him, and she let him know it's the best I have ever made at home. Steaks, ribeyes, fillets, strips, whatever you're into, got him. Unbelievable stuff. Briskets, chuck roasts. It's the best of the best, and it's right up in Ethel at Sagrera Farms. I bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. Contact my guy, Sean Sagrera. You can give him a call. I give you Sean's number every single week, and that's how you get in touch with Sagrera Farms. You just call Sean, who lives on the farm, and he will walk you through the entire process. And if you don't like what you get, you don't pay a cent for it. That's great dealing with local people with the great business. 225-719-1723. 225-719-1723. Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. All right, we got our last look at LSU football today for the spring. Next time we see them, it'll be 1,000 degrees for fall camp in August. And I took a great interest in what we saw today because I knew that it would be my last look for a good while. And I got a practice report up at LouisianaSports.net. Myself and Matt Moscona were there, taking it all in. First of all, attendance. Malik Blockton was shaken up on Tuesday. He left the workout and was getting worked on off the field, and he did not practice on Thursday. He joined the cast of characters we have seen missing for the last couple of weeks. William Satterwhite, the reserve center, was not there. Trey Brown, wide receiver. Solomon Thomas on the offensive line. None of that is new. Those guys were not there at practice. The good news, TaMarcus Cooley and Whit Weeks were involved. They were going full speed on 11-on-11, going full speed on 7-on-7 as well. It was good to see those two guys out there and working. I saw when we got out there, they do their quick 6 period, right? So they go out and they run 6 plays. The defense is out there, the offense is out there. Nobody's tackling anybody, obviously, but you get to see some looks. And I saw the dime defense. And one of the things I noticed was that Deuce Gerald's was the only guy with his hand in the ground. Deuce Gerald's was right in the middle, on the nose. And then you had Prince William Onmielen and Jordan Ross on the outside standing up. They were on the edges. And then you saw the linebackers, Devon Keys and T.J. Daugherty, in the middle. Then you had your dime shell in the secondary, which was Jakeem Jackson and DJ Pickett out wide. P.J. Woodland kicked inside into the slot. And then you had the 3 safety look with Ty Benefield, Deshaun Spears, and TaMarcus Cooley. So you're looking at 6 DBs in that look. And that's something I think you're going to see a lot of this coming fall. They like these safeties. They like Cooley. They like Spears. They love Benefield. Those 3 guys are going to be on the field a lot, and you're going to see them in the dime. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw that look in the nickel as well. So That was something I looked at. When you saw the quick six, the one play of note, Jordan Ross bent the left side of the LSU offensive line and got back there for a sack. It's not contact. They weren't even wearing shoulder pads. I'm not overreacting to one rep in this quick six period. Just to say, Jordan Ross's emergence as a really impact player on this team would be massive. I'm going to tell you all this in August like 15 times, so just prepare yourself for it. Jordan Ross, to me right now, is the guy at Tennessee who really didn't do anything production-wise for 2 years. That's who Jordan Ross is. Jordan Ross, to me, is not the five-star recruit. That's 2 years ago. Jordan Ross, to me, is a guy with talent, obviously, who has not produced at Tennessee. So the talent's obviously there. I need the production to match it. That's something I'd like to see, and he had a sack this morning, so I took a note of that. Then I go to the one-on-ones with the wide receivers and DBs. I thought this was, one more in the quick six. The first touchdown we've seen in the quick six period this spring, we think. We kind of kicked that around, Glenn West, myself, and Matt. Like, is that the first time they've scored on this? I think it may have been. It was a great Phillip Wright catch and run over the middle. He caught it in the middle of the field from Husan Longstreet and split the safeties. He's got incredible speed, obviously, and made it count for a touchdown there. So let's talk about the one-on-ones. I charted the reps that I thought were noteworthy. There were like 26 reps, but here are the ones I thought were noteworthy. Jace Brown absolutely cooked Ty Benefield on a double move for a big play down the sideline. I thought Jakeem Jackson had a really good rep on an interception. He was covering Malik Elzy on the play. Jace Brown, just a few reps after going right by Ty Benefield, blew by Fahim Delane, caught a touchdown pass there. He is something else on those one-on-ones, Jace Brown is. P.J. Woodland had a nice pass breakup on a ball intended for Phillip Wright. Haven Finney had a really good rep against Roman Mothershed, ran stride for stride with him on that rep. Jackson Harris had a great route. He turned DJ Pickett inside out on a route that looked really, really good. Trey Wilson, the Florida transfer, blew by Michael Turner for a great play. Then Malik Elzy had a touchdown over Jakeem Jackson, which was a nice rep. My takeaway from the one-on-ones, more so than those individual reps, when you go to that setting, that one-on-one setting where you don't have help as a defensive back, the field is so wide open. It's very heavily slanted towards the wide receivers. The two guys that I just can't see the LSU DBs sticking in that setting with all that space is Jace Brown and Trey Wilson. The Kansas State transfer, Jace Brown, the Florida transfer, Trey Wilson. They are the most sudden receivers that LSU had. Their hesitations are lethal. Their quickness to get across the face on slants is lethal. And then they can run by you as well. I've seen great reps and great stuff all spring from Winnie Watkins, from Jackson Harris. Malik Elzy's made some good plays. I like what I've seen from Phillip Wright as well. They've got a lot of talent at wide receiver, but when you just look at quickness, suddenness, and the ability to win one-on-one in open space, Jace Brown and Trey Wilson, to me, are nightmares in that way. Looking at the 11-on-11, the inside run period, Landon Clark worked with the ones. It was the only period I saw him working with the ones. He kept it on a read option keeper and went 60 yards for a touchdown. Both quarterbacks, Longstreet and Clark, can move their feet. And we saw Longstreet with a running touchdown in Tiger Stadium on Saturday around the right. Clark kept it right up the gut for a nice touchdown run today. And then Husan Longstreet hit Jackson Harris for a touchdown on a slant route that looked really good. Special teams, the one thing of note, the punt returners were the guys we've seen back there a lot. Jace Brown, Trey Wilson, Winnie Watkins, Dylan Jones, Jabari Mack, same suspects. On the negative side of what I just told you about Trey Wilson, how dynamic he is. Former five-star recruit, guy at Florida, carved up Georgia last year. Like, he's explosive. He has muffed at least 4 punts since we've been out there in the spring, and maybe more than that. He muffed another one today. I just don't think you can put a guy back there who continues to do that. You're a long way away from your first game. But the fact that you have so many options that the coaches are watching this, they're charting this, he's muffing, what's it got to be, 35% of the punts? That can't be. So that's a little bit of a bummer on that note. 7-on-7, some interesting reps. Trey Wilson beat DJ Pickett on a slant for a touchdown. Devon Keys had a really nice pass breakup on a slant. Tamarcus Cooley had an awesome pass breakup on a corner route. Winnie Watkins was running to the corner. Watkins can really run. Cooley closed the gap and had a great pass breakup. Harlan Berry caught a touchdown in the flat. Jackson Harris had a play that they threw up to him in the back of the end zone on a 2-point conversion, and Zach Weeks broke it up, which was a really nice play by the youngest Weeks. So that was the highlight from 7-on-7. And then some reps from 11-on-11. Malik Elsey lost the defense on a busted coverage and made a catch down the right sideline. He took off running for the end zone, and P.J. Woodland ran him down and stripped the ball free for his safety. It was a great hustle play by Woodland. The Ones went to a jumbo offensive set when they got down inside the 5-yard line. In that jumbo offense with the first team was Zach Grace and Malachi Thomas as kind of the extra tight ends, and Malik Elsey, who's the most physical wide receiver LSU has. They put him in at wide receiver in that set. Dylan Carpenter is not somebody we've talked about a lot in spring football, but he's had a nice spring, and he had a sack as well as a pass breakup today late in the practice. The first and second team both attempted 3 2-point conversions in 11-on-11. They were 0 for 6 on those. Trey'Dez Green was triple teamed on a jump ball. That was incomplete. Jace Brown ran a reverse. He might have thrown it like Philly special. That was blown up by Ty Benefield for a TFL. Husan Longstreet made kind of a bad decision. He rolled to his right and flinged it back to his left. And if Deshaun Spears was looking, he may have intercepted the ball. Fahim Delane had a nice breakup on a pass that was intended for Corey Barber. As I mentioned, Dylan Carpenter had a nice pass that he batted down, and then Landon Clark tried a QB draw. We heard about his wheels a little earlier. Tried a QB draw on a 2-point conversion, and that was stuffed. So one of the things you'll see a lot from LSU, I think, in the tight zone and short yardage was direct snaps to the running back, oftentimes Dylan Jones. He dropped one of those today, but still scored a touchdown on it. So that's kind of a look at what we saw in spring football. I'm going to give, probably on Monday, a big picture thought on LSU in spring football. I'll certainly write something. I think Saturday morning is what I'm targeting for a spring football reaction on Saturday morning, depending on how baseball goes on Friday night, candidly. But that's a look at what we saw today. And I will say this, as I said, along these lines when they started spring football, I didn't know what to expect from an access perspective with Lane Kiffin. I know that he shut things down significantly at Ole Miss, did not allow the media to see much of anything, and I still have kind of tempered expectations for access in the fall. But for spring football practice, I'm appreciative that Lane Kiffin let us go out there and see as much as we did. Got to go inside Tiger Stadium for a total of about 4 hours. Got to see probably 5 different 1-hour practices on the Ponderosa. So that's helpful to us for sure. And I think it's helpful to you, the listener and the fan, to feel like you've got a pulse of what they're doing. And I certainly saw a lot of improvement. Again, we'll see what the access looks like when we get out there in August. But good spring for us in terms of content, so I hope you've enjoyed that. And there is a practice report up at louisianasports.net. Still some more to come in terms of spring football content as we continue to move forward through the weekend and early into next week. We are here at the parade grounds on the campus at LSU. And why are we here? We're here for Team Kate. Team Kate is Kate Hargett, who is an 11-year-old who has been diagnosed with a rare mutation that will turn malignant if she is not matched up with a bone marrow donor. So we're here at a swab event on the parade grounds. If you are on campus, if you are close to campus and can get here before they head out at 5 o'clock this evening, no pricks, no blood being drawn, just a swab to see if you're a match. They have done this on numerous campuses throughout Mississippi and now here at LSU, and they're looking for folks that are 18 to 35 years old. So if you're between 18 and 35 and have some time to come by here, get swabbed to see if you can help save a life for Kate Hargett, we would really appreciate it. We are here just in front of the LSU Student Union. We'll be here through Matt's show at 6 o'clock. Would love to have y'all come out. It's been an amazing turnout thus far. So appreciative of y'all for coming out. We're hopeful that some great news can come from today, and we're here to help Team Kate in any way that we can. So if you have some time, you're between 18 and 35, and you can come by and swab, we would certainly appreciate that. We'll take a time out, come back, and talk some SEC baseball with Joe Healy next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, now under new ownership. Fabry family, but you know them. They're not new to you. They've been in business for 35 years here in Baton Rouge. 3 locations, 5 brands, wonderful customer service, and amazing service after the sale with the Fabry family. And that's certainly true at Fabry Chevrolet GMC on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Get on by the website, FabryChevrolet.com, and check out the great deals, including up to $11,000 off Silverados, up to $13,000 off MSRP on GMC Sierras. It's Fabry Chevrolet, GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Moving right along here, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Time to talk some SEC baseball. To do that, we bring on our guy Joe Healy with D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team, Highway to Hoover podcast, and every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday you can catch Weekend Waypoints on YouTube. Joe, appreciate the time. How are you?
Doing pretty well, Hunt. Good to join you as always.
Well, things are not great here, Joe. I got to be pretty frank with you. We got to start with the home team. That's 6 straight going the wrong way. We can get into that if we want to, but I'm more curious your thoughts on Jay Johnson's Friday night comments about his team with 14 league games to go, talking about roster management.
Yeah, it was a bit of blunt honesty, I thought, from Jay Johnson, a guy who, you know, is not, I wouldn't say shy about it, but that was about as blunt as we've heard him speak, not just about this team, but I think in general in his time at LSU in terms of a negative way. And, you know, I think of it 2 ways. One is I think there's a little bit of an element of this being a little bit of a last-ditch effort on his part because, you know, he's not, you know, Jay, he's competitive. He's not going to give in. He's not going to give up on this team. But I think there is some element of him saying, look, I'm kind of washing my hands of this. I made mistakes, mistakes were made in roster management, roster building, but this is what we got. And this kind of just is going to be what it is. And I think there's some element of motivating factor of maybe that takes some pressure off. Maybe that kind of allows for the guys to play freer because the coach is kind of saying, look, this is on me and we're just going to have to go to battle with who we got. The other part of it that I think is more likely is just this is the frustration boiling over and him realizing like this is what we have and it's not going to be good enough. And I went away from last weekend in that series against A&M kind of thinking this is the first time this season where I've looked at LSU and thought this team may not have a run in it. I always thought it had a run in it before. I didn't know how much that run was going to matter. I didn't know how much that run was going to help, but I always thought there was a run in there. And after last weekend, I'm just walking away thinking there just might not be after all.
Yeah, look, I called all 3 games for the network and watched every pitch from the press box. LSU was outclassed last weekend, and that doesn't happen a lot. And A&M did it for 3 days. I'm curious your thoughts on A&M and how you feel about that team at this point in the season.
Yeah, look, if they don't have to get stretched out on the mound, if you let them just use the 6 guys they really like on the mound, so the Sadeo and Sims and Weston Moss and the bullpen, Freshcorn and Garden, and there's one I'm missing. But if you let them use those 6 guys and just leave it at that, Lyons is the guy I was missing.
Yep.
Then they're going to be fine because they're going to mash. And chances are, if they're just using those 6 guys, it means they're holding the opposing offense down pretty well. And they're as good as any team in the conference when they play that way. The key is you've got to push them out of their comfort zone on the mound and force them to get in a little bit of a rock fight. And LSU just wasn't able to do that. And to me, that's been, of all the concerning things that we've seen with LSU this season, to me, that's been the most concerning. Is this is the first time I've seen a Jay Johnson coach team that just didn't have the impact offensively to push opposing pitching staffs out of their comfort zone. Even some of his Arizona teams that weren't particularly good always had that type of offense that can push the opposing pitching staff. And this one just doesn't seem to have that against, the best opponents it faces.
Yeah, losing 6 in a row is bad any way you slice it, but not being able to get Ole Miss out on the mound and then not being able to hit Texas A&M is a problem on both fronts because that's the weakness of those 2 teams, and LSU couldn't exploit it either way, and that's a huge bummer here in Baton Rouge. Let's talk about some of the other series around the conference coming up this weekend. I'm particularly curious about Georgia heading to Oxford, Mississippi. 1, do you believe Georgia is the best team in the league? And 2, how do you feel about that series?
Yeah, I do kind of think Georgia's the best team in the league because I like the makeup that they have on the mound right now. Wolchko's been really solid. Vignew has been really solid. They dodged a little bit of a bullet with an injury last weekend. Vignew came out early, but it turns out it was just cramping. So that's about as good a case scenario as you can have if you're Georgia. The offense, we know the offense is as dangerous as any in the conference. It's them and A&M, for my money, 1 and 2 in some order. But I think I've talked about this before on your show. The thing that stands out to me about Georgia is that previous teams under Wes Johnson have kind of seemed to have this almost false bravado, this kind of manufactured bravado where I didn't know if I necessarily believed it. This team is just carrying themselves with a lot of earned confidence. They're not doing some of the bravado stuff. They're just buttoned up. They're just professional. They're just kind of going about their business. And this is really the first time where I felt like there's a Georgia team that's not having to convince us that they're good. We just know they're good because we're watching them and they're carrying themselves with a ton of confidence. And that's going to be such an interesting matchup this weekend when you consider the rotation that Ole Miss is going to run out there. Yeah. I know Taylor Rabe wasn't as good last weekend, but that's in terms of high-end talent. I mean, that's on the short list of best rotations in the SEC. LSU saw that firsthand. So that Elliott, Townsend, Rabe rotation against that Georgia offense is going to be a tasty matchup.
So is Florida's starting rotation against A&M's matchup. That's in Gainesville. LSU will finish the season against Florida at home. If there are some people in Baton Rouge still holding out hope of some sort of effort down the stretch, it's going to have to finish with Florida. They'll host A&M. Do you give Kevin O'Sullivan's team a chance to do what no one's really done in the last month, and that's take care of Texas A&M?
Well, they're coming off of a series loss, which means they give them a little more of a chance because Florida is just alternating series wins and series losses. So, I mean, that helps, I guess. I do give them a puncher's chance because I do think, look, on any given day, their pitching talent is as good as anybody's in the country. It's just sometimes it hasn't been there for them, and sometimes it has. And they've had two bullpen meltdowns this year. One has been against Ole Miss, and one was last weekend against Auburn. And if they flip those two results where they give up a bunch of runs in the ninth inning with a lead, we're probably not having the same conversation about Florida being so inconsistent. And that just goes to show you how just a small handful of games can make a huge difference. What I don't like about Florida, though, from this weekend standpoint, is I didn't realize the degree to which, until I started writing my Series of the Week preview, and that's the one I picked this week, I didn't really realize the degree to which Florida really has four hitters it trusts. And everybody else has really either been injured or has struggled or has just been inconsistent. But so if you can get Kyle Jones and Serwick and Lawson and Sear, those four guys, if you can get those four guys out, you can pitch to the rest of the lineup. And heck, I mean, you can kind of let those four guys get theirs to a certain degree. And as long as you don't let anybody else in the lineup beat you, and they haven't proven they really can consistently, I think you can really pitch to this Florida offense. And to be honest, I didn't really realize the degree to which that was true. You know, they got some guys who are really hot right now. Blake Sear is probably the hottest of the bunch. Serwick's hitting about 360 in conference, but that's a lineup that you can really work around if you're careful with those top four.
You heard it here. LSU's going to sweep Florida because they don't have anybody to hit past the first four spots in the lineup. So that's good for LSU at the end of the season. That's what we can look forward to. In seriousness, LSU's headed to Starkville to play Mississippi State this weekend. It's Super Bulldog weekend. It's the spring game. It's the Wiener Dog races. I'll be up there tomorrow for my show in all three games. So we'll see. Give me some degree of confidence here as an LSU fan. We're down right now. What has Mississippi State struggled with? Why did they lose 6 straight on their home field? What are some of the issues with Brian O'Connor's team before we get into the real strengths?
Yeah, I mean, the starting pitching outside of Tomas Valinkis hasn't been as consistent as they would like it to be. Duke Stone strikes a bunch of dudes out, but he's not necessarily super consistent from week to week. And then Charlie Foster has been just as inconsistent. And, you know, and they've mixed and matched a little bit in the bullpen as well. So it's a very, very good pitching staff. This is still I think a very good team that has masqueraded for a while as not a very good team. I still think they are. But it was on the pitching side of it they really got them in trouble. The other part of it, I think that I've started to think a little more about is that, you know, it is a lineup with the exception of Ace Reese, who, oh, by the way, is not really hitting that well in SEC play. Yeah. With the exception of Ace Reese, it is a lineup full of really nice college players. There's not necessarily a lot of prospect pedigree, a lot of flash. And so I do think there is some element of when you get up against really premium pitching, and we can have a debate about how much of that LSU actually has, but if they get up against really premium SEC pitching, like they have been pitched to pretty well. I think there's some guys with some holes in their swing. I think there's some guys that, again, are just really nice college players that can't really elevate beyond being that type of guy, and they got exposed a little bit. But the biggest thing for me is that, you know, if you're going to have success against Mississippi State, you're just going to have to do your best against Valinkis. But then I think you can get to Stone and Foster in that bullpen if you can make them uncomfortable early in games.
We shall see. I'll be there tomorrow. Enjoy the baseball, Joe. If you're looking for SEC baseball content, D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team is the spot to get it. Highway to Hoover podcast every single week. And, of course, Weekend Waypoints Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thanks, Joe.
All right, see you, buddy.
Remind you of our friends over at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Look, if you're looking for a Generac home standby generator, go with the local angle. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. We know storm season's coming. if you need that Generac home standby generator to make sure that your power doesn't go out, whether it's a hurricane or just those nasty afternoon thunderstorms that we get for 3 months straight. It's a nuisance to lose your power for 2 hours. Don't have it happen. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. We have weather events that are winter events that can happen. Boudreaux's Electrical Services, happy to come by, install that generator, do the maintenance on that generator, monitor that generator to make sure that when you need it, it is ready to spring into action. Give Neil and Melissa a call. They've been running it for 40 years. Local business here in South Louisiana. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. That's 225-300-9389. That's our friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. We are here on the parade ground. Team Kate Hargan, an 11-year-old who is in need of a bone marrow transplant. We're looking for matches. If you have time to come by and get swabbed, you can get a free cone of ice here. And we're looking for a match. If you're 18 to 35 and maybe around campus and can come by and get swabbed, we would certainly appreciate that. They've done this at multiple campuses throughout Mississippi and now here in Louisiana. Looking to save 11-year-old Kate's life. She needs a bone marrow transplant before her mutation turns malignant. So we're hopeful. I'm so encouraged by the turnout that I've seen walk up to that tent thus far. We're on the parade ground at LSU, just near the LSU Student Union. We'd love to have you come by if you've got a little bit of time here on this Thursday. Matt's going to do his show from right here, AFR. If you've got time until 5 o'clock, we would love to see you come on by here and help out. All right, we'll take a time out, come back and close out the hour next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, looking to hit some golf shots, Swing Easy is a great option for that. Maybe you don't have a tee time yet, you want to go play some simulator golf, you can do it. You got a private bay there, comfortable seating, television, the turtle box there to crank some tunes, bring some friends, get some cold beers, seltzers, put them on ice, play Pebble Beach. Play TPC Louisiana, where the pros are playing the Zurich. Card your score. You can play alternate shot with your buddies, just like they're going to do a couple times this weekend. It's just a great and alternative way to enjoy some golf in the indoors. Maybe you don't have 5 hours to play golf, but you want to hit some balls on Saturday morning. Get on by Swing Easy Golf Club and do it. Great place to work on your game. Great place to socialize. And they have membership options available. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Closing up hour number 1 here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Our pleasure to be joined by David Hargett. We are here for Team Kate today on the LSU parade ground just across from the LSU Student Union. Kate is 11 and is, of course, David's daughter. And we're looking to find a match for a bone marrow transplant. It is a swab event. There are no pricks, no drawing of blood. Just coming on by if you're 18 to 35. And you can get swabbed and see if we can find a match. We're certainly hopeful. And, again, thrilled to have David here. How we doing, David?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to be here. I'm thrilled with the turnout thus far. How's it looking over there?
It's been pretty amazing. It's been steady all morning since about 9:30 on. What time is it now? Close to 2?
It's close to 2.
It has been steady. I mean, it's no breaks. It's just overwhelming.
It's awesome to see. I want to talk about Kate here, but I'm headed to Starkville tomorrow. I know you got some Rebel red and blue in your blood. You got any tips for me? You told me about your last trip to Starkville. Maybe some things I should avoid?
Yeah, well, avoid the cowbell. That's going to be tough to do.
You said your last time you were there was Eli's senior year?
The last time I went to a sporting event was Eli Manning's senior year. We beat him 31-0 in the rain. Got hit in the head with a cowbell.
Well, I hate to hear that. I'm going to try to avoid cowbells at all costs, but I have my doubts with the way LSU's baseball team is playing. I'll be in the press box, which should be safe, but I'm looking forward to the trip up there. Tell me about Kate. Obviously 11 years old. Tell me about her just as a young girl. I know she loves to read, and I know that she's a joy for y'all.
She's 11. She's really big into reading. She's read all the Harry Potter books,
awesome,
which are huge and thick. She used to be big into sports, but then once the older she got, the harder it got for her to play soccer.
Sure.
So she's still able to do some cheer right now, and that's about it. We're trying to get maybe some tennis.
Okay.
Something to keep her active and keep her moving.
I know it. And y'all have been here. Y'all are here until, I think, 5 o'clock today. Is that correct?
I think it's 5 today and 2 tomorrow.
5? Oh, like 2 tomorrow. I forgot about that. So 2 o'clock tomorrow on Friday. So I've been talking about today, if you do have some time to come on by until 2 o'clock tomorrow. I know she was here a little bit earlier today. How's she doing?
She's doing good. She's still here running around. Matter of fact, she and some friends are on the other side of the street asking people to come over.
I love to see it. Well, this is it's very encouraging to me to see these young people come up and step up and do that. I know it's meant a lot to y'all's family.
It's overwhelming if you just take a step back and look at all these people, because the last number I heard, I think, was like 240, 250 that have taken the time to swab for us, and they don't know us from Adam.
Right.
I mean, it's overwhelming.
It's incredible. I'm so hopeful for today. I know y'all are as well. I'll let you get back to the tent, get back to shaking hands and getting people signed up, and let you get back to watching Kate and her friends run around. We appreciate a little bit of time.
Yep. Thank you, Hunt.
That is David Hargett. We are here for Team Kate on the LSU Parade Ground. And if you are on campus and can make it by today, we certainly do appreciate it. Again, Kate, 11 years old, in need of a bone marrow transplant. We are here to help save a life, and you can be the next step in that process if you come on by and get swabbed. We certainly do appreciate that. Matt will be here for AFR until 6 o'clock. They'll be here until 6, and then again until 2 o'clock tomorrow. All of our stations are out here. We got 104.5 ESPN swag, koozies, Talk 107.3, shirts, T-shirts, all kinds of stuff here. And there's Kona Ice right here next to us if you want to get that on a warm day. That's it for hour number 1 here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed anything, you can catch it on demand. Talked about the Saints draft pick at the top of the show today. Gave my LSU football practice report as well. You can catch that at Hunt on LSU. Joe Healy stopped by to talk some SEC baseball, the D1 baseball SEC extra team. And we got a lot to do in hour number 2. We're going to pause for national headlines and Sports Center. Matthew Paris is going to join us to talk some Saints. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, coming up in hour number 2 as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll pause for Sports Center. We'll come back. Hour number 2, the Hunt Palmer Show, coming your way next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Oh.
Gotros Outdoor Power. Gotros Outdoor Power is where you can find a ton of Hustler gear. 2 locations, inside Baton Rouge and in Gonzales. You can go by and see them this weekend. They'll be available to you. And they've got the zero-turn mowers that you're looking for now during grass cutting season. No question about that. They've got incredible deals on those Hustler products. The largest inventory in the state is at Gotros Outdoor Power. So go by and see them, Airline Highway, or, of course, in Gonzales. Gotro family's been at this 22 years. Don't think of them as a mom and pop shop. Not even close. They are a big old operation, and it's grass cutting season. It is time to get by Gotros Outdoor Power. So go do that. 2 locations, Airline Highway and in Gonzales. All your hustle zero turns, they got them. It's Gotros Outdoor Power online at gotrosonline.com.